All right. Well, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We're expecting more people to join, but I think we'll just let them trickle in while I kick this off. I don't want to keep you all waiting. Let me just quickly turn a couple of things off here. All right, perfect. I hope my audio is okay. Just give me a thumbs up, someone in the room so that I know. Thanks so much for joining us. The all important artificial intelligence, or is it? I think we're still figuring out the artificial intelligence part, but yeah, we have language models that are now helping us process data and come up with stuff significantly faster than humans can. And there's a whole lot of things that it can do. But what we're going to focus on today is how you can use it, right? Now, we have an interesting cohort of people here. You know exactly who signed up for the webinar, right? Of course. So we know the kind of people that are going to attend today. I'm going to focus on two parts. Like I'm going to talk in two layers. The first layer is going to be the ideal outcome you're looking for by leveraging AI, irrespective of the size of business that you are. And the second is something that you can action today, right? So immediately after this webinar is over, you can instantly action some of those ideas, right? Now, the reason we're doing that is because the first one is actually very easy to do, right? For example, if I say, hey, personalization is important, everybody knows personalization is important. It's what you do to get that achieved, to actually personalize in a way that it actually improves outcomes. That's going to matter a lot, right? So I'm going to focus, a lot of my attention on how you can also instantly implement some of these changes. If you have feedback or thoughts or questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'm open to feedback as well. There's also a Q&A section. So if you're talking about something that you want me to take up at the end, I will do that as well, right? So let's jump right in. This is our first webinar related to AI. We've been super focused on conversion rate optimization and retention. So I'm going to, of course, cover those as areas. But then, of course, let's focus on how you can instantly start using AI to improve business, right? The first thing, of course, is what's really happening with AI is it has given us a gift, and that gift is a gift of velocity. It's a gift of speed. So what AI has allowed us to do. So I'm going to speak from my experience as an entrepreneur, and then I'm sure you will be able to relate to it as well is that for us, for example, we build and ship software products, right? So ConvertCard is software products. We help solve convert optimization. We have analytics, A/B testing, personalization, search, pop-ups, everything in a single piece. And we're evolving those products at a very fast pace. So it has given us velocity, of course, right? But the thing is that most companies start implementing AI in broken form. So there's AI generated copy, something to do with the chatbot, bulk content. So blogs are getting published left, right, and center. All kinds of stuff is happening, and very generic stuff. The problem with that is velocity is a gift and kind of a curse because it also not only does it make doing the right thing faster, it also makes doing the wrong thing faster. Just because you can achieve something doesn't mean it's correct, isn't it? So, for example, you just putting a blog on your website, assuming it's going to help, might not be the best way to think about it. Why? Because, for example, in the latest update, Google SEO has penalized websites that were doing listicles just to try and rank, right? Top 10 ways to recover abandoned carts, in our case, for example, or other ways. Now, that has all been penalized. So, what Google wants you to do now is do deeply researched content that is extremely relevant because it understood that it's extremely easy to publish listicles. There are also tools now that can help you publish 100 blog pages in half an hour, right? So clearly, volume of content does not matter anymore. So breaking this whole thing down, we're going to kind of flip it upside down on its head, and we'll talk about the revenue layers that matter. In 2026, what is it that matters as far as AI wins are concerned, right? So the first thing, of course, is conversion, right? I think the instant use of AI that you can make is to analyze data, find exactly where you lose customers and revenue, and improve your conversion rate. I will break that down. I'll also be taking an example of a store that was started by someone in my family very recently. They keep taking advice from me. They sell jackets. It's called Loom. I'll put a URL as well. It's a pretty good store. And so for them, right? So they started from zero. And so they did a bit of influencer. There was a bit of ads. They're selling jackets. They're based in Australia. And so the interesting thing is that I mean I've built a few stores and I've done that, but I saw this journey once again up close. So one of the learnings that happened was that there was an extreme amount of focus on driving marketing, right? Driving demand. and just making sure that you're able to bring people in. And a very small amount of focus and understanding that even in the best case scenario, out of 100 people that visit your site, only 5 actually are worthy of your attention, right? In the sense that they are the ones who are actually, they are the ones who have intent to buy, they have the capacity to buy, they have the ability to purchase, the ability to pay. They're the ones who relate to the product. They're the ones who are truly your audience. Anybody who's spending less than 50 seconds any which ways is probably just checking you out and doesn't even wear jackets, for example. So what we did for them, for example, this is a store that's very new. So very new. I mean, this is they're in the first couple of months, right? So we are now in a place with that store where we are converting at 6%, right? In the second month of starting the store. And these are $200 jackets. Okay. I'm gonna show you the store as well. So that's so that you know what I'm talking about, and then there's no BS. So these are jackets that they're selling, right? Really nice, super stylish, right? Lot of user generated content that they're trying to work on. But this store, as basic as it looks, converts at 6%, fairly, I mean, fairly serious revenue, right? Not a small store. Okay. But the bottom line point here is because we were so dialed in on conversion, partially because of me, we were able to implement every last trick in the book to make sure that we focus on those 5 or 6 people that truly matter. And that's going to be the theme going forward as I continue to talk to you about this, right? The second is monetization. Once you've found those 5 people, make sure that they buy and make sure that they love you, right? So their experience has to be mind blowing. They get a product, they love it, they never send it back. They want to buy more, they're looking for other things. They say, hey, this is so amazing. Whenever you launch something new, do make sure you let me know. And so now there's like a WhatsApp group or a Facebook group that you're trying to engage people in. So that's the second layer. AI is going to make that easy, extremely, extremely easy. And the third is operational leverage, right? How can you scale experimentation, launch more products, right? Uh, Also, the final experience that your customer gets, scale that very, very efficiently. So the big shift really here is that we are going to go from the static. So even the store that I just showed you, it's a very static store, right? It's products. You can go take a look at the products, add them to cart, kind of do your own thing. There are a few things that keep changing depending on where you're from, but largely a static shopping storefront, isn't it? But the important thing here is there's going to be a pivot to adaptive experiences. Now, I'm going to walk you through today on how you can achieve that. But the bottom line point here is the old model was everybody sees the exact same store. We have to slowly go away from that. Now, you can't do that overnight, but I'm at least going to try and tell you the journey to that, to achieve that. Right? The first, of course, is to capture intent, understand what people want, who are they, their gender, their size, their ability to pay, where it come from, their demographic, everything you can, and what are they here for. Once you have that's when you connect all of that data, it creates context, right? Once you have context, you show them the product, and then you understand what their hesitations can be, right? Then you implement solving for that across different devices, depending on the stage they are they just checking you out? Are they serious about it, right? And then you eventually try and get to the next level. So you have to do this at all these different layers, right? So I'm going to talk about 7 use cases for AI. I'm going to go through them one by one. Once again, if you have questions or anything specific you'd like to know about your industry or your store, I'll try and take that up as I go, but that's going to be an important one. The first one is product discovery. People who use search on your website convert 8 times better than people who don't. Product discovery is by far the number one problem that we solve at ConvertCart as well. And when I say that with a simple statistic. ConvertCart as a company runs about 10,000 experiments a year. We are experimenting at a massive scale, and we are doing everything, right? From medical equipment, health supplements in the US to bicycles in Australia to fashion in Europe to furniture in the UK. We are doing everything. And so the number one thing that we try and solve for is product discovery. Now, if you're a single product site, this problem does not apply to you. But if you have anything more, this is by far the number one thing to solve for. So what does that mean? Generally speaking, AI is being used for recommendations. What we want to instead do is reduce the decision friction. What that means is instead of solving for making people see the product, solve for them feeling like they have struck gold. Does that make sense? They should feel like they've landed on this product that's going to solve all of the problems in their life, of course, in the context that you are in. But that's really what it is, right? I don't know if this product is right for me, is the current feeling. What we're trying to do is we're going to make sure you feel like this is, of course, at the end of the day, I'm assuming all of you are selling products that are solving real world problems, right? So that's the underlying assumption. So if you're selling something that people don't want, I can't help solve that problem. But that's the underlying assumption here. Okay. So I don't know which product is right for me. We're going to tell you how to do that, right? Comparison engines, guided quizzes, whatever it takes, right? Whatever isn't worth it. How do I make sure the perceived value of the product is useful enough, right? Maybe I'll buy it later, right? Is it worth the price? So all of these questions, we have to figure out a way to answer them. So a fantastic example is what Ordinary has done. This is the storefront earlier on the left, right? Just the whole thing, right? You get a basic niacinamide, all of the different products that they're trying to sell. But then we've broken that down. So what they've now done is we've said, hey, you know what? Here is the journey. You've got to cleanse first, then you got to treat, and then focus on the problem you're trying to solve. And then at the end, of course, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. You got to keep your skin hydrated and moisturize. Moisturize is the king. Sunscreen is the king. I've learned that much from my wife now, so that's a good thing, I think. But the bottom line here is that you, instead of telling the customer, here's a product that solves problem A, you've got to help them articulate their own problem better and then show them the product. So the journey that they take is going to be super important. So the action item that I have for you is pull your search query report, right? How are people finding you? Search query report from Google Search Console and from GA4 and the search keywords on your website's search. Push that all into AI or give it to us. We will synthesize that data. We have a search that is extremely analytical. So we generally deploy our own search on our client sites and it works really well. But the bottom line point is what that gives us is the original intent, the original thing that people were searching for. Your highest intent customer will search for the exact thing that they want. So we're not trying to solve for that, right? That's already converting. It's already working. Let's not focus on that. We're going to focus on the remaining few bips of customers, few percentage points of customers that are on the fence. They're giving you their minutes, but they're not giving you their money, right? So that's what we try to get after. So the first thing to solve for with AI is product discovery, and that's the first action item is to analyze through AI what are people searching for, how do they look for things versus your own product names, descriptions, the way you categorize them, the way you pitch them, right? That's going to be a game changer, right? The next one is AI for conversion optimization. So this is, I mean, safe to say, I know a thing or two about conversion optimization. I can tell you that it's transformational what we're able to do with our clients now. We are able to deliver results much sooner. We are able to, because at the end of the day, conversion rate optimization is not about the ideas. It's not about the ideas. It's about the execution, right? It's about how deep you can go to kind of understand. So it's not going to be about better pages and all of those things. What's going to matter is how relevant can you be to each customer, right? Because the thing is, we were already doing this. We were doing it manually, but now it's a little bit easier for us to do it. So what you got to do first is look for signals, right? So if you see on this left here, what are they clicking on? The searches, product views and engagement. What are they adding to cart? What is the product history, device and location? What season? This is something that, with ConvertCart, when we originally built the CRO platform, we created 150 different data points that customers leave with you, and you probably don't even capture when they're browsing on the site. And so we categorize those data points into 5 different categories. So you've got user-specific data points, which is where they are from, the device they use, the browser they're on, the kind of internet speed they may be using, their location, their gender potentially, what channel. And so you've got that. Then you've got engagement level, right? What product category, price points, everything that they're engaging with. So that has a ton of data. Then you've got acquisition related data. Where did they come from? Or how much time did they spend? All of that. And then you've got at the end, you've got behavior, right? What are they spending more time on? What does insight does it give? Once all of that is consolidated in a single place, that helps. Then you can synthesize it. So far, the synthesis of that data was extremely difficult, right? And then at the end of the day, you have to come back to gut feel. You have to say, hey, you know what? I think here's what's going on. I don't think AI has a gut feel yet. As a business owner, as somebody who markets for the business that you run, you will be the best person to really say, here's what I need. But to arrive at that point, the data points that you can analyze versus what AI can analyze are completely different, right? So the action item that I have for you very simply, and before that, I'll also show you what a brand that's nailing it is trying to do. So Sephora, for example, here, they do it really, really well, right? So what are the shopper signals for Sephora, right? Skin type, beauty concerns, preferences, if there's any product history, the purchase history. Then you've got quizzes if they can throw that at you. The next is AI interpretation. So what do they really want? Do they want to brighten the skin? Are there any past behaviors? Have they, bought something that makes sense? Then it would recommend the right outcome, and that's what creates business outcome. I think cataloging as e-commerce needs to change. So the action that I feel that you can take, I'm going to expand on this later as well. But there's one piece of data that you're probably ignoring. So your reviews, customer reviews from all over the internet, wherever you can find them, download all of them in a CSV and upload them into any AI tool that you like and ask them to tell you what are the reasons people are not converting. And after conversion, after using your tool, what are some problems that they face? Or what are some anxieties that they have? And that will unlock a completely new world of what people are thinking about what's really happening. The other thing that I think you can do is running a survey, right? I was talking to an electrical bicycle brand today, and I was very surprised, right? So they're selling $10,000 bikes, but they were not asking people that were not buying why they were not buying. There was no exit intent survey that was running on the side. So we ran that survey for them. Over a period of a couple of months, we had about 1,000 responses. So not much. But when you look through those responses as a human versus when you let AI kind of go through it, it's mind blowing. And by far the number one, I mean, of course, there was an insight there. I can't really tell you what it is because it's proprietary information, but it was groundbreaking. So I think now we're fixing that problem. And I really think they're gonna unlock the next level of their own conversion rate. So that's what's gonna happen. Merchandising. Now, I think a lot of brands don't really relate to this, the merchandising problem, because at the end of the day, we are passionate entrepreneurs. We have a few products that we want to sell. Unless, of course, if you're a store that is like, we have a lot of hardware stores that we work with, B2B businesses, we work with lighting stores, we work with a lot of that kind of companies. And so in their case, arrangement of products and merchandising matters a lot. And generally, what's been going on is a lot of static rules and sorting. So it's generally, hey, what's new in stock versus bestsellers? And there's not a lot of personalization that's being done. So that needs to, I think, completely, I think we should eradicate that from the face of the earth 2026. I do not want to see, it's like shopping at a Banana Republic or shopping at a, Bloomingdale's. So I don't want to have to walk through all of the shoes and all of the perfumes to finally go to the jackets. You know what I mean? That's annoying. So I think these guys will have a huge chance of converting me if I walked into it and I knew what I want. Unless, of course, I'm like, it's like one of those you're walking through the store kind of visits. But in a lot of cases, you're like, hey, I want to buy a jacket or an overcoat. Let's go take a look at it. But you're not gonna. So what you want to do here is think of it in layers, right? Of course, the first one is understand what the shopper wants, predict what drives revenue, then show the right products and improve decisions. So what I'm trying to do here, or what I'm trying to suggest here, is we are not using input signals to sort our products. So personalization engines, good personalization engines do this. We do this, for example. I'm not trying to make a pitch here, but I want to tell you what the outcome is of that. The outcome of that is instead of just seeing like a mountain of products, you see 3 or 4 things that instantly you're able to relate to. So what we've seen is while pushing conversion rate up for converted users, we are also able to bring down the time on site. So it not only is it converting better, it's also converting faster. And that's super important because there are 2 types of data points that we generally track. The first is a user lapse point, and the second is a customer lapse point. These are 2 important data points, which I don't know if you're tracking as a brand, but you should. And I'm happy to find that data point for you. But I'll talk about the customer lapse point later. But the user lapse point is so there you have people that gave you, all the users that gave you more than 90 seconds, right? So depending on the business if you're jewelry, you will have an average time, average attention span, which you will consider serious, which will say, hey, this is a serious amount of time somebody gave me. So we'll put that lower threshold. And then from there, your converted users will have an average time to conversion. So your time to conversion, for example, could be 2.5 minutes, right? So you're saying, hey, you know what? It takes at least 90 seconds for people to take a look at me seriously. And it takes an average of about 150 seconds for people to convert. right? Now, everybody who spends more than 90 seconds, but less than that, is somebody who got lost somewhere in between. Right? Of course, if they spend more than that and still did not convert, that's a massive loss of opportunity, right? But there's a user lapse point, which is saying, hey, if I lose a customer on the website after 120 seconds and 3 pages, that's a lapse point I have to solve for. I have to find a way to either try and keep somebody longer or make sure that, find what the problem is, right? Are they not able to find something? They don't like the price. Ask them, just obsess over that problem. Because that's the five that I was talking. Out of the 100, the five that will convert and the two that are buying, the three that are not buying, those people, if you can't first separate them in traffic, how will you separate them in conversions? It is impossible. How do you solve for it? Right? So that's an important one. The difference is very clear. This is a static versus an AI powered store, right? A static store is showing me kind of everything, the best sellers across the categories. You can see men, women, bag, shoes, everything, right? It's the exact same content for everyone. I know most stores are operating like that, right? So I meet customers on a regular basis. I know your store probably operates the same way. I go to the homepage, everybody sees the same homepage. They don't need to, but they do. If you are obsessing about personalization, it'll be very different, right? You will be able to identify who's on the site. B, you'll be able to show them stuff that truly matters, right? So what is something that you can do with merchandising? Now, completely different insight that you can actually derive is inventory aging and movement. So this is something very interesting. I often get asked this, which I find as a question is very interesting is, hey, you know what, I've got these products that I really like, but they don't sell. What do I do with them, right? So can you help me figure out a way to? And I say my general answer is, do not get into that discussion. Sell what sells. As simple as that, right? I'm a little bit of a stoic, very objective about things. Not because of course, I did not buy that stock, so I'm not too attached to it. So I can give them honest advice. But on the flip side, also, why are you defocusing your customer away from something that already sells, right? But I'll tell you what you could do. Don't do discounts all over the place, right? Don't run like a flat 20 or any of those things. Do a inventory aging and movement analysis using AI. What that will allow you to do is it will tell you the 10 products that you never need to discount, because your conversion rate when you discount and when you don't discount is exactly the same. As a matter of fact, people who bought undiscounted hate it when you sell it cheaper. So it loses brand as well, brand value as well. Instead, it's going to tell you the 20 that you should discount, and you run extremely aggressive discounts on those, and that brings people to the store because now you're running like a 40% off on these products that nobody anyways wanted. It got the attention. It got you to move the stock, and the bonus is that your bestsellers will still move because at least you got the eyeballs. Does that make sense? That's what AI can help you unlock. It can help you unlock what you should and should not discount, and that also helps you not lose money on your best sellers any which ways, which are moving the way that they are. AI for lifecycle email revenue. I'm going to keep going. I hope everybody is okay with my speed. I know a few more people have joined us. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A section. I hope I'm making sense. I hope this is of value, but I'm just going to keep going. So, we have limited time. So I'm just going to keep motoring through this. Scheduled communication should die. So that's my other prediction 2026. I think we need to get to adaptive communication. So what that really means is that there are two parts. About 70% of your email revenue should come from workflows and automations. 30% should come from campaigns. If it is the opposite, there's something wrong. Number one. Number two, a lot of stores, of course, a large part of your automation revenue is going to come from cart abandonment, browse abandonment, and welcome emails. Those three flows. But we are not chasing that large part of the revenue. You already have that. We are chasing driving your conversion rate higher. So the rest of the people that are not buying, and that rest of residual revenue, that residual movement, that's going to happen with extremely personalized emails. So what you got to do is look for signals again, right? Website behavior, purchase history, email engagement, product affinity, all of those things, right? Predict what is the best time to send an email, what email to be sent, what kind of content are they looking for, and then you send a personalized email. I'll tell you what the final version of this whole thing looks like. You will have like 20 or 25 workflows that are probably triggering one email a day or 5 emails a day. Eventually, there'll be more as more people will fall into that statistically significant bucket. But you will have people, for example, that looked at a product for more than 90 seconds and it was more than the lapse point. Now you remember what lapse point is, and they did not convert, but they gave their email. So here's what's going to happen to them. So instead of kind of a blanket browse recovery, take the 20% off and run, you can be a little bit more nuanced, right? You can show variants of the product that they were saying, which they might not have seen. And that's what inspires people to take action. It also drastically improves your open rate because you're more specific. Your click-through rate goes up, and it's just you come across as a significantly more nuanced brand. So this is a great example of OSEA. So this is a new subscriber kind of comes in, no purchase history. AI action is sends a personalized welcome series. Then you get another signal which is, hey, this person looked at the bestsellers. Intent is there, but there's no cart addition. Then the cart value was about $86. So you know that there is intent, now there is value attached to the customer. How much discount should you give them? Why does it need to be a blanket, right? This thing. Although if they had gone all the way to the checkout, maybe it was shipping, so do a free shipping instead, right? And run all of this through custom coupons instead of blanket discounts. You will see that when you engineer it this way and you're selling something that's $100, you don't need to shave off like $30 or $80 or $70 from your revenue as cost of acquisition, and the rest of the money is what you reinvest or take home. It does not need to be that way. You deserve to get 30-40% of your orders should be full value, no discount. People come, people buy, they're happy, you're happy. It does not need to have all of that, all of those line items that are there in the invoice. So, that's for sure. Retention. So now we're talking about, so now we've converted the customer. We've emailed them, we've personalized, we've converted them, they found the right. So we did product discovery, conversion, monetization, emails. We've covered all of that. Now the next thing is retention. How do you bring them back, right? So far it's been blanket win back emails. We've been running sales, right? So there's Thanksgiving, Halloween, all of that, Independence Day, all of that we've been able to do. And then of course, loyalty campaigns. But now what's really happens is, all of this is actually reactive. Generally, all of this triggers when the abandonment has already happened, right? So the disengagement has already happened. So it's like bringing the customer back from the dead. That's difficult, to say the least. So what you want to try and do is you have to create intervention before it happens. So now I want to talk about lapse point, the customer lapse point. A customer lapse point is very simple. It's the point of no return. So for example, you will essentially take all of the data, all of your order data and purchase data needs to be synthesized by someone smart using AI. And what they'll help you understand is what is your lapse point. So lapse point is if all my repeat customers generally repeat, generally meaning the median date of repeat order is say 60 days, right? If a customer has ordered once and they have reached 61 days, their chances of repeating are 90% lower. So 60 days is your lapse point, right? If you don't have that lapse point for your business, you have to find it. And I'm telling you that even if you are selling high value fashion, if you're selling jewelry, which are businesses that don't have high frequency, if you're a high frequency business, finding lapse point is easy. But if you're a low frequency business, lapse point is a little bit harder. I have clients, like people who are selling electric bikes and all of that kind of expensive stuff, where the lapse point is 200 days, right? Where they come back to buy a gift for someone in the family. Also, not all customers will repeat. Also, you will lose customers. So you have to kind of achieve something, right? You have to achieve a benchmark. Say, hey, this is my churn. This percent of customers never repeat with me. This percentage of customers currently repeat with me. And I think given my lapse point, I can try and improve that number by so and so percentage. And what that gives you is figure out a way to increase that 60 to 70, right? Push the lapse point. So what that allows you to do, that means you're retaining customers. So it takes a long time for people to forget you, right? And that has a lot of value. So the action you can take is find your lapse days number, right? Also check one-time buyers, right? The other thing that I feel that we don't analyze enough is that your channel of acquisition, device of usage, journey that people took for one-time buyers who never bought again, versus the channel of usage, device that they use, the product that they looked at for people who bought again, might be entirely different. And we've seen that many times. So what happened is that weird product that you were running on discount, somebody bought that, they hated the color as they should, and they're never coming back again. So that's another problem with trying to push products that people don't want, is that they might regret it. And so, people don't generally come back to stores that they regret buying from. So that's another one. Bundling and upsells. Again, I think I don't want to spend too much time on this one, but generally speaking, I feel that bundling and upsells are done in hindsight. They're done in a way that creates product combinations as opposed to being a little bit more nuanced, right? So it's the same bundles for everyone. The priority is to improve cart size. The priority is to manually merchandise. All of that can change, right? So I'm going to show you an example here. Amazon, of course, is phenomenal with it. So, for example, if you're somebody who's ordered work from home equipment before, Amazon's recommendations along with the headphone are different from if you're somebody who travels a lot. So, and I'm not kidding. If you go and look for a Sony noise canceling headphones and from your phone and your partner's phone, you might be seeing different. So, for me, for example, you would see maybe a travel case and something else, right? So your upselling does not need to be relevant to the product. It needs to be relevant to the user. So that's the big change. And you can actually also do a simple action here. Again, go back to the last 12 months of order history, and your customers will tell you what you should be bundling. You don't need to actually think of bundling yourself. You just need to let your customers tell you that. I'll give you another free tip, another kind of quick conversion rate hack is if you're selling products that are slightly higher value, consider giving your customers a free gift at checkout. It's a very simple way. If you can personalize that free gift, even better. But generally speaking, if I have $100 product in my cart, or let's say I'm buying like a $50 t-shirt, and on the way to checkout, I'm like, hey, here is a $5 hat which we're throwing in for free if you check out right now. It's unlimited delight. It's really, people really enjoy it. We've seen checkout abandonment go down significantly with that. AI for customer support. Customer support, I think, is the most reactive thing that should be the most proactive thing. So we started a company some time ago, which was a chat slash support company, and the learning there was that the highest value conversations were the ones that were initiated by the brand, as opposed to the ones that are initiated by the customer, because the customer generally initiated conversation when it was a problem. Whereas everybody else that was worth talking to and recommending products to was being left out. It's similar to how you walk into a really nice store and there's nobody who comes talk to you, right? And so the desk is only reserved for people who have a problem with the store. So that's another one. The simple action item that I have for you here, a very simple action item that I have for you is take the last 3 or even 6 months of support tickets, take an export, and find out exactly what people are thinking, compressed into like 5 insights, just five of the most important insights. Then front those queries and gaps on your product page and your collections page. So what if you see what's really happening here, for example, is there is a delivery prediction. We have high confidence that we'll get it by May 17, right? So the vagueness in delivery is offset by a prediction, right? And that's, I think, it's so powerful what this is. It's like, hey, you know what? 95% of chances that you get it in 2 days. If somebody gave me that confidence, especially on a site like this, which is like where you really don't know when you're going to get something, it would be game changing, right? So that's the first thing. Second is, of course, the fit, the anxiety around buying fashion products, always the fit, it's the color accuracy and all of those kind of things. So you might want to just front those questions. Hey, here is what the fabric is. 95% of our customers think that our fabric is fantastic. They're able to style this very easily. So you just try to give the user confidence before that same thing becomes a support ticket. Does that make sense? I think that's got a huge impact on the way people look at this. So I want to gift back some of your time. I think generally speaking, where you want to start is very simple. If you're early stage, focus on improving search and recommendations. Fix the lifestyle basic, right? So your onboarding, when the first exposure of the customer has to be useful, get their email, cart recovery, win back, personalization, and then implement analytics to the T. Your analytics data points and all of that should be very accurate. If you are scaling, add predictive segmentation, right? Group customers by behavior, test more, right? This is when you should be experimenting at scale. You should be running deep A/B tests. That's what we do for our customers, right? And then now use AI to surface the right products to the right customers. Your personalization should be really good, right? there is no version of this where you should be showing a catalog to your customers, right? And then if you are at an advanced stage in your business, then your entire journey can be adaptive, right? You're doing quizzes. Those quizzes are recommending products. People are spending time on your website. You have great, recovery. You know all the metrics, the lapse point, lapse minutes, and the lapse days. You understand time to conversion. You understand time to product for your customers, time to discovery for your customers. So those data points are now consciously being tracked, and you're actually trying to make them better, right? Because that's what ends up moving the needle for you. And then, of course, you unify all of that in a single place, a single source of truth. In a lot of cases, for our customers, customer card becomes that because we're able to see data at scale. And then, of course, focus on predictive retention, right? Focus on not letting customers forget you, order again, and kind of do that. What we can obviously, this is, we're gonna, of course, share this with you. So this is like an audit checklist, which you can spend time on for product. And this is really simple. Is the site search understanding shopper intent? Are recommendations helping? So you can just, these are like yes and no questions along with some caveats that you can spend time on. So we will send this out to you. Alternatively, what you can also do is let us audit, right? So let us just go in, look at your site and help you kind of find exactly what's broken. And we'll also give you an action plan. And then, if you want us to get after it, we'll get after it as well. But that's really what it is. Parting thought, final thought is AI will not replace great e-commerce brands. Nothing's going to change for you. As a brand owner, you should be extremely excited about this. Why? Because if you embrace AI and bring it in, brands that are using AI smartly will obviously replace the brands that don't use AI, right? So that's what's going to really matter. This is kind of a blockbuster to Netflix story. Both are the same businesses, just modernized, made better, and at the end of that, people continue to consume products. They'll continue to want the products that you sell. You just gotta make them palatable, put in front of them in a way that they want it a little bit more. So that's it. I don't have anything else for today's discussion. I hope this was useful. I'm gonna stick around for a couple of minutes to take any questions that anybody has here. But once again, thank you so much for so many of you to join us. And yeah, once again, I hope this was useful, and I'm right here for questions. You got a DM. Do we use AI for audits? Yeah, so we've built something really mind-blowing. We're gonna launch it in a big way in the next couple of weeks. But basically, we've basically what we've done is we've created a way to synthetically analyze your site. What that really means is we're able to understand who your customer is, create a persona out of that, and say, hey, your average demographic, for example, might be 30 to 50 male, based in the US, income level is this much. These are the professions that they are in. And we are able to send 600 to 1,000 of that specific type of user to your site and get feedback from them, right? And so that's priceless because the kind of insights that unearths is next level. And it naturally has a solid impact on your conversion rate. So once you start to improve those things. All right, perfect. All right, thank you so much, everyone. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email. I'll be in your inboxes after this. But once again, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one. Have a great rest of your week. And then, of course, weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.